gave myself a haircut, and that turned out pretty well, I guess. I've been drinking a lot of Kool-Aid lately. Number one, because it tastes delicious, and second of all, because I read somewhere that if there's too much like sweetness or too much salt or something in something, there's like no bacteria in it. That's why you can eat like honey that's been preserved in Egyptian stone for like thousands of years, which is why I made some Kool-Aid, because I figured sugary enough that like no bacteria will get in it. Whether that theory is correct or not still remains to be seen. You know, it's kind of funny. Ever since this whole zombie apocalypse thing began, the Z53 and the, you know, all this freaking crap that's going on, I think that ever since then I've actually been more studious than normal. Like, I was looking up about cells and the way that cells do their thing, and then I was thinking about that in relation to the zombie virus. So of course I went onto the internet and I looked up all about Z53. Alright, so imagine it this way. Right there, that's a normal cell. You have the cell membrane and all that crap, and there's like a nucleus in the middle. There's like some mitochondria and some endoplasmic reticulum, some Golgi apparatus, and some ribosomes. And what the frick else is a freaking cell? And there's like vacuoles and stuff. Anyway, that's a normal cell right there. And then you take the normal cell and you look at a Z53 cell, which is actually interesting because it's like the opposite of a normal cell. I mean, the opposite of a blood cell. See, if you it's a bacteria, and it's cool because it's the opposite of a red blood cell, because a red blood cell has all this outside stuff, all the stuff that makes it work as a cell, but it doesn't have the DNA in the nucleus. Whereas the Z53 cell has an extremely large nucleus, and inside it has DNA. The problem with the DNA, the problem with this cell is that its DNA is there, and then there's like one mitochondria, and then there's like one thing, and there's so much more DNA than anything else in the cell. So how are you going to power a Z53 cell? Well, you're going to take this DNA and you're going to implant it in the other cell. So it's like, I don't know. It's sort of like a virus. A virus would be like a little... It'd be like this little thing that jumped on. It had DNA in it, and it just went boop right in, and then that made more viruses and popped out. But the way that the Z53 cell that works is basically the same way. There's this thing called transformation that can happen, that if the DNA of if DNA is just floating around and it's near another cell, that DNA will just migrate into the cell. So what a Z53 cell will do is it has these has a bunch of these little lysosomes in it, and there's just so many of them. And what they are is they're like these little things, and they literally kill the cell. It kills the mitochondria, kills the endoplasmic reticulum, kills the Golgi apparatus, kills everything in the cell, and breaks open the membranes, which means all of this DNA is free to float around other cells, and the other cells transform into a Z53 cell. Because the DNA from a Z53 cell gets outside into the cell. And that's sort of how Z53 works, as far as I can tell. I am by far nowhere near an expert on this. I mean, I just cracked open an old biology book because I was bored, and I looked through it, and then figured out, well, what if I could apply this to real life? And then I Googled some stuff. And this is the same stuff that, of course, like, many scientists have figured out, because it's like the basics. I mean, if I can figure it out, they figured it out, which they have, which is what they've been using to to work on their vaccine or whatever the heck they're doing, cure, vaccine. I mean, as far as I can tell, it's just rumors now, but the point is they know about this, and they're working on a way to stop the transformation from occurring. And that's basically what's going on. And I hope this helped out a little bit. Keep hopeful, and I'll see you soon.